Opioid use in America is increasing, and Green Country is dealing with issues of its own. In Tulsa County alone, nearly 2,000 people ended up in the emergency room. Now, joining me now here is Tulsa Police Officer Tony First, and thank you for joining us here today. And first off, start by explaining addiction, how it's impacting officers right here in Green Country.
It's definitely increasing our workload. Addiction typically starts off very innocently, perhaps an injury or a surgical procedure, and once the addiction hits, of course, it just gets worse and worse until a certain point when a person is no longer able to afford whatever their drug preference is. And we have a saying in police work that drugs are the economy of crime. Almost every crime that we investigate has ties one way or the other to drugs or drug use. So as more people become addicted to opiate-based drugs, eventually that will more than likely lead into crimes being committed, which of course translates to more law enforcement.
Okay. And do you think you arrest more heroin addicts or drug dealers?
We definitely arrest more addicts simply because there are fewer dealers than there are addicts or people who use them. My first 15 years in patrol probably counted maybe 3 to 5 total heroin arrests. It just wasn't that prevalent around here. Sure. Now, almost every shift, officers everywhere are making heroin arrests, so the problem has definitely grown here.
And age-wise, are we seeing more children, teens, upper teens?
We are. Most opiate-based addictions start off with pills. Again, a surgical procedure, an injury, and they're legally obtained, legally used drugs that turn into an addiction later on. Oftentimes, kids in your teens and whatnot will see pills as not quite as bad a drug as other drugs that you have to inject. But it's still just as addictive.
Sure. And finally, what do you think the city of Tulsa or the department as a whole, is there anything they can do to help curb the problem?
Now, on the enforcement side, not a whole awful lot, but we are changing the way that we approach the problem. Beginning about 2 years ago, we partnered up with the Oklahoma State Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services and initiated a naloxone program here in Tulsa, which equips our officers with a medication called naloxone, which reverses the effects of opiate-based drugs.
Sure.
This is a little bit of a shift for us because we've learned a little while ago, like most departments have, we cannot arrest our way out of the problem. But perhaps if we're able to help someone whose life is in danger, perhaps we can keep them alive long enough to a point in their life where they can make a recovery.
All right. Thank you very much, Officer Tony First.
Appreciate your time very much, sir.
Tulsa
Thank you.
Police Department. Thanks for joining us today. And tune in to Two Works for You tonight and throughout the day for more stories of recovery and how you can help prevent opioid abuse in your community.